In this video, I'm going to walk you through and build a survey from scratch in Go HighLevel that you can use to generate leads either for yourself or for your clients. Now, I would say that this method is more of the beginner to intermediate kind of method and is good if you have an advertising budget, maybe on say Meta ads or Google ads of $1,000 or less per month. If you're spending more than that, wait for the next video as I'm going to go through a more advanced method with more advanced tools to get an even lower cost per lead. And at the end of this video, you will build a survey that looks much like this. You'll be able to click through and prospects will easily be able to answer various questions and then submit the form, and then you or your clients get the lead. All right, so I'll just bring up my screen. So the first thing you'll need is a HighLevel account. Now, there is a link under this video to get an account, and if you use my link, you can get a 30-day free trial instead of a 14-day free trial. It's pretty easy to sign up for your account. Then we need to have a think about what questions do you want to ask in your survey. So I'd suggest pulling up a document, something like this, and coming up with the various questions that you would want to ask. Now, I'm going to do a mortgage example just because I'm quite familiar with this niche. And I've already come up with these 12 questions. So what state, city, or county do you live in, depending on which country you're in? What's your post or zip code, living situation, employment situation, how long have been in your job for, how much do you earn per year, do you have a partner going on the loan, how much does your partner earn, how much is your home worth, how much is owing on your mortgage, how much other credit card or personal loan debt do you have, and name, phone, and email. If you capture all of this, this would be pretty good for a mortgage client. I would suggest thinking about what is the order to put them in. You want to start out that your first question is very, very easy to answer. Because if no one answers the first question, they're definitely not going to answer any of the other questions. So that's the way you want to start out your surveys. Really think about what's going to be a good question to ask first. That's very simple for someone to answer. And at least if they answer it, then they go through the process. On the panel on the left, you'll click on Sites. Then you go up to Surveys and click Builder. Then we can add a survey. So this is a brand new account. I'll be building the whole thing from scratch. So let's call this Mortgage Example Survey, and we will start out with our first question. What state, city, or county do you live in? I'm going to stick with Australia just because that's where I'm from. So I will do what state are you in? I think that makes sense for Australia. So what we want to do now is we want to create surveys that have buttons much like this that you can see up in the screen. I'll just put that up on the screen so you can see how it's going to look. So what you want to do is click Add Survey Element, then you'll go to Custom Fields, then click Add. Then you'll go to Radio Select, click Next. Then we'll just paste in our question, what state, city to live in, and we can just put this in additional information, and then we will put in our various options. So I'll just change this. So what state do you live in? So for Australia, we will do, now I'll just speed through this so it won't chew up all the time. All right, so now we've added all of those in, we can just click Save. And then we'll wait, this will pop up and we'll just go there and we'll drag this question across. And then we can go to Settings and rename this to State. And then, as you can see, the way it looks now isn't going to look, we're going to change the way it looks basically so that it looks more like this rather than like this. But we'll do that at the end. We'll just go through and add the various questions. So we'll click Add Slide. Then we'll grab our next question. What is your post or zip code? So this one is already in HighLevel, so we won't need to actually add a field for this. We can just put it here, and then we will just change this to what is your, so in Australia, we'll use postcode. And just use that, what is your postcode? And we will just change this to postcode. Then we'll click Add Slide, and we'll go to our next question. What is your living situation? So we'll have to create another custom field. So we'll go to Custom Fields, click Add, Radio Select, click Next. We'll type in our question. We'll go Additional Information, and then living situation. So they could be, actually this one is your employment situation. So I'll just change this. What is your employment situation? And we'll save that. And you can see it'll come up, it should pop up there, what is your employment situation? But we want to do what is your living situation. So I will create another custom field and we can reuse the employment one when we get to that question. So again, we'll just type that in, paste it in. This, I always like having an other option as well, just in case. And click save. And then we'll put this in and we'll change this to living situation. Great, we'll add the next slide in. And we already have employment situation, so that's great. We can just put this one there. All right, great. And then the next slide. How long have you been in your job for? So this one, again, we'll go custom field, add, radio select. Now, the reason why I like having buttons that people can select is because it's easier than if they have to type out everything. So that's just the tip. The easier you can make it for someone to fill out, the more leads that you're going to get for a set budget, more than 12 months. So we have these options here. We can just click additional information and save. We'll just call this job time frame and go to the next. And how much do you earn each year before tax? So we'll do this one. Again, radio select. Additional information. So we can do, so we'll click save. And also earnings before tax, and then add that one in. Great. And we'll go add another slide. Do you have a partner who will be co-signing the loan with you? So again, we'll go custom field, add. This will just be a simple yes or no. So we'll go again, radio select, next, yes or no, and click save. And then I'll just state this. So co-sign partner, put that one in. And we'll go to the next one. How much does your partner earn each year before tax? So we'll do another one. So that's all good. Then we'll go add a next question. How much is your home worth? So for this one, we're going to do a different option that I used to do a similar like this, like that the home would be worth certain brackets, but I found it's better if people can write in exactly how much it is. That seems to be what the brokers like more. So what we can do is we can go down, all the way down, and we can go to monetary. And we'll put this one in. And we're going to call this, how much is your property worth? And then we're going to add in another monetary field. And we'll just put this one below. And how much is owing on your mortgage? And then we can use the score field above this, put that there. And we'll say this is equity. So what we can do, and I'll show you how this works afterwards, but it'll allow someone to enter in how much their property is worth, how much is owing on their mortgage, and this will be calculated in real time. So they'll be able to, it just acts as another visual cue that someone, to make sure that they put the correct information in and they don't miss out a zero or, write something incorrectly. Oh, and one of the things that we should probably go through is, I forgot one of the steps. All of these, we want to click required, just so that people can't skip it and they have to answer each question. So we'll just do that. And both of these will be required. And this calculated field, we'll have to go to calculations, and we can do how much is your property worth? Take how much is owing on your mortgage, and that should give us how much equity there is in the property. So that's all good, and we'll just change this to property value valuation. Then we go to next, we'll add another slide. How much is owing on your mortgage? Oh, so we've done both of them, that's good. Then we can do how much credit card or personal loan debt do you have? Go to a custom field, and I'll do a radio select for this one. All right. All right. So we've got that, and we'll just make sure that this one is required. Then we have our last to add name, phone, and email. And I normally do this on one slide. So we'll just call this name, phone, and email, and we can just use the full name, the phone, and the email. We can put that for this. Full name, so required. Phone, and we'll do that second. And we'll put enable for the phone, enable country picker. That's a good one to put in there. And email. But what I like to do here is, now that people have filled out this quiz, I don't just want to have full name, phone, and email. I want to have some text in there that sort of gives them a little bit of a pre-frame onto, what's going to happen next, basically, why they want to fill this out. So if we go down here and choose the text, then drag that across, we can then go just change the padding so that it is in line with everything else. We can change the size to 20. And then you could change this text really depending on the quiz you have and how you set it up. So what I would normally say would be something like, I would recommend saying something similar like this. This seems to work quite well. We do a similar thing for our clients as well. It's worded much the same, and it works really well. So now that we have done this, what we can do is click Save and Preview. So now we're going to add in the magic, so that, because at the moment it doesn't have big buttons, and the problem with this is if we look at this on as someone would be on a phone, it's a very small target. They have to click exactly there for it to work. They can't go anywhere else, right? They have to click just there, and then it'll go to the next question. Whereas we want to have big buttons so it's easy for people to click. Go back to our form, and we'll click these styles and options. Then if we go and styles, and we'll go all the way down to advanced settings, right down at the bottom, custom CSS. Now I have this code that I created, and we can just grab this, we'll copy that, and paste this. And I'll include a link in the description so that you can just find this code and use it yourself. And then we'll click Save. And then if we go back to our Preview tab and we refresh it, there we go. Now it looks much better, easy for people to click. So let's do a test. It's nice and easy for people to click through. But there is a problem, as you've probably seen. The problem is, if we have say for instance, this question here, what's your employment situation? If someone clicks unemployed or retired, it doesn't really make sense for them to see this next question, does it? The same with, do you have a partner who will be co-signing on the loan with you? If they answer no, there's no point asking this question here, is there? So what we can do is, if we go in and we just click on this question, so now that we're on the question tab, so it should say the actual question here, that's how you know you're on the right area. We have logic down here. So if the answer is yes, we want them to go and answer the partner income question because it makes sense. If the answer is no, we want to skip this question and go straight to the property valuation. But before we do that, we need to adjust the order slightly, because in the beginning it says, what is your living situation? Now, if they say they're renting, it's not going to make any sense to ask how much their property is worth, right? If they own their home outright or have a mortgage, then it makes sense to ask how much their property is worth. So what we want to do is we want to bring this question down here And we want to move this up. So what is your living situation and then property valuation? Does that make sense? So if someone clicks that they're renting, they will skip this question and go to employment situation. But if they select own their home or have a mortgage, it'll go to property valuation. So we'll just click on this again and we'll go, if they click own my home outright, we will choose property valuation. Have a mortgage, we'll also choose property valuation. And for the rest, we can choose employment situation, and other will be employment situation. So that means now they will skip this question if it doesn't apply to them. So then this one is all good. And you don't need to set these up. By default, they'll just go to the next question. So you only need to set this up if it makes sense to. So for this one, we want full-time, part-time, self-employed, and casual to see job time frame. Otherwise, if they are unemployed or retired, we can go earnings before tax. So we will do that. So job time frame, job time frame, job time frame, job time frame, and this would be earnings before tax. That all makes sense. So this one is set up. So partner income, and then this one, if they answer no to this one, they want to go to the credit card question. So we'll change this credit card one, and then we're good. So let's click save, and we'll refresh this again, and let's see if it works properly. So if we click own my home outright, it's going to go to how much my property is worth. Let's see if this calculation field works correct. How much is your property worth? Say it's worth 800,000. How much is owing on the mortgage? So 400,000. This is not working. So let's go back and see if we can figure out why that isn't working. Let's just try it again. How much is your property worth minus how much is owing on mortgage? And we click save. Let's see if that works now. Okay, that's better. I just needed to do it again. So if, say, our property is worth 500,000 and we have 150,000 owing on the mortgage, our equity is 350,000. And see how it changes in real time, so that it gives an easy way to see, how, if their answers are correct. So let's just leave it like that. Click next, and say employment situation. If I go click full time, it will ask how long I've been in my job for. But if I click unemployed, it would just go straight to the earnings. So that's all working correct. Let's go no, and it jumps straight to credit card. There is a partner. It'll ask their partner's earnings, then go to the credit card, and then the prospect can fill out all of their details. The last thing that I would like to change on this would just be to make it a little bit bigger, because if we refresh this, now most of the time I always build for mobile, because most of the time, 95% of the traffic coming to your quiz is probably going to be from mobile phones, especially if you're running meta ads, for example. So you want to have it really easy to use on mobile, because I don't know, this is just a little bit small. I'd like to make it a bit bigger. So the way we can do that, go to settings, and let's go to advanced settings, label. Okay, so this would be, let's make this 18. And let's make this 16. Placeholder can be 16. Let's do that. So we've just gone into, we've changed our short label to 16, our label to 18, and just make sure everything else looks good. I think that all looks good. So let's save that. Go back and refresh this. Yeah, it is. It's looking a bit bigger, so that's good. You can see it's bigger than it was before. So that's pretty good. And I think this is a fairly good size. I'll just make these previous and next a little bit bigger. They look a little bit small. So we can do that. Go on the footer and change this to 18. And now that looks a bit better. So refresh it again. Yeah, that looks better. This would be like, hey, this is a good form. It's big enough. It's all working. The only downside of this form, so I'll share. I'll stop sharing now. So in the next video, I'm going to go over a more advanced method, because the only problem with the Go High Level forms is you don't know how many people drop off at each step. So if someone clicks the first question, you don't know how many people have clicked versus how many have seen. So if there's 100 people that view your survey and 50 people click the first question, that means the first question has a 50% conversion rate. You want that as high as possible, but you can't really test that on Go High Level unless you make multiple surveys and then split test them. But even that, it's not that good of a way to do it. In the next video, I'll show you the platform that we use most of the time, especially when we have larger budgets, that allows you to see your conversion rate on each question and really make some better optimizations. Below this video, you'll find a description. If you don't have a Go High Level account, you can use the link below. You'll get a 30-day free trial instead of a 14-day one. And there's also the links to this, the code that I shared, the CSS code. If you have any questions, you can leave them in the comments and I'll do my best to get back to you.